Hello, welcome, good evening. I'm Terry Kay of the Jewish Grandparents Network. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for Grandparenting with Grace, organizing your home and heart for the Jewish New Year. We so appreciate that you made the time to join us tonight. First, a big thank you to Sarah Reed, our JGN colleague, who is helping facilitate. Sarah has shared with us in chat how to turn on captions for those who wish to use that feature. Also, a reminder that you can change your view at the top right corner of your Zoom screen. You can choose speaker or gallery view. I hope you will allow me. I'm very excited to introduce you to our new executive director. Sarah, if you want to spotlight Deborah Weinberg, who lives in Baltimore. Deborah started officially in her role as executive director on September the 1st, and you're going to hear a lot from her, including a listening session, a coffee talk with Deborah on November the 12th, and you'll hear all about it there. So thank you so much and welcome, Debs. We're absolutely ecstatic to have you on board. And now may I turn to our wonderful presenter, Amy Bergman.
Hi, it's so great being here tonight with all of you. Thank you.
Amy, do you want, now I've forgotten, do you want me to introduce you or are you going to introduce yourself?
You can introduce me. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I know you have a great introduction.
Yes, I do. But I so appreciate that you have agreed to lead us tonight in this, what's going to be, I think, a fascinating session. Amy Bergman is a professional organizer and founder of Amazing Spaces. She is a native Floridian and has spent 20 years serving the Jewish community of Palm Beach County through roles at the JCC, a local temple preschool, and the Commission for Jewish Education, where she helped launch PJ Library, and at the Jewish Federation. Amy, you'll soon see, brings her passion for functional, peaceful spaces and her deep roots in Jewish communal life into her work helping families declutter, simplify, and thrive. And here I'm going to add a personal note. We've met several times, and Amy arrives at meetings 10 minutes early. Her motto is, on time is late. And P.S., that's her real background. It's not a Zoom background. Welcome. And over to you, Amy. Thank you so much for leading us tonight.
Oh, thank you, Terry. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your busy evening. I am so glad that you are all here. Just curious, as a professional organizer, I would love to know from all of you, use the chat and just put in the chat for me, if you could declutter and organize one space in your home, what would that be? Would it be your pantry, your closet, your kitchen? What would it be? I'm just curious what the consensus here is this evening. What challenges you in your home? I'd love to hear some of your answers. So share that in the chat this evening. Let's see what we've got. Oh, stacks of notes. I see that. Bedroom, closet, laundry room. Oh my God. The laundry room is the great connector in any home. Every room in your home leads back to that laundry room. So that's a great place to start. Paperwork, yes. Craft room. I just did a craft room last week. Somebody opening an Etsy shop wanted to set up a craft room. That's a great place to start. Closets, yes. Let's see. Yes, the abandoned child's bedrooms. That's a great opportunity to repurpose a space. How would you use that space? I'm curious. Kitchens, yes. Paperwork. I think it looks like we have a consensus about paperwork. Well, I agree with all of that, and there is no bad answer. And when somebody calls me and says my whole home needs to be worked on, and I don't know where to start, I always suggest two places to start, in case you're wondering. A great place to start is the primary bedroom. Why? Because it's where you wake up every morning and start your day, and where you end your day in the evening. So if your bedroom is decluttered and tidy, it really makes a difference in your everyday. A second place I love to start working is your main doorway or foyer entry space, because that's how you receive guests. And that's a great way to start, is having a tidy and uncluttered space when people come into your home, which is a great segue to what we're going to talk about tonight. We are going to talk about how are we going to think about our homes and our environments as we get ready for the high holidays. So with that, Sarah, my friend, could you share your screen and we can get started? I am happy to take questions, comments, all of the above as we go. Terry is going to be monitoring the chat for me because it's hard for me to read and share with you and engage with you. But I want this to be a conversation. And while I have a lot to share with you, I also want you to feel comfortable coming back at me and asking questions or filling in blanks. And we will do our very best to address everything. But having said that, we did leave plenty of time at the end for questions. So if you would prefer to just write it down for yourself and ask at the end, that's good too. So Grandparenting with Grace, here we are. As I said, we're going to talk about organizing our home and our hearts for the Jewish New Year. So we can go ahead, Sarah. As Terry said, this is who I am. So we don't need to go too much into that, but I did spend most of my working life in the Jewish community, working for my Jewish community. And my passion for organizing is something that I then did a huge pivot. And 3 years ago, started my own business. So we can move on. Okay, so we've done the question in the chat, and we now have a little bit of a headspace on that. So to begin, I love to ground everything we do in Jewish values. There are 2 core Jewish values I'm going to talk about tonight. Chesed is the first one. Chesed just means loving kindness. It is how we show loving kindness. It is doing acts of loving kindness for ourselves and for others. Why is this related to what we're talking about and having an environment or a home that is ready to receive guests, whether that be in person, virtually, or just for ourselves for the holiday? It is loving kindness. It is an intention behind what we are doing. And you can translate this many different ways during the high holidays. If you are going to be entertaining family and grandchildren during these high holidays, how does chesed translate into what you're doing? Maybe you are preparing special foods for your grandchild, or you have a grandchild who has an allergy and you're buying things for your pantry that you know that they can eat. That is chesed. Maybe you're clearing a shelf in your family room so that you can put books and toys for your grandchildren. That is an act of loving kindness. That is chesed. And as we prepare our homes and get ready for all of these logistics, we are creating an atmosphere where people and our family and our friends or our neighbors can feel cared for and respected and embraced. And that's really important during these Jewish holidays. And even though these are things that you probably are already going to be doing, I want you to stop for a moment and just think that they are very Jewish things. That is a very Jewish act. And what is important with all of these acts of kindness that you're outwardly doing for others, we have to remember to have the loving kindness for ourselves. Don't lose yourself in all of this supporting of others. And we're going to talk more about that as we go on tonight. But I want you to just remember yourself as much as we are going to talk about how to show loving kindness and hospitality towards others. You can go on, Sarah. So as I said, we're just going to be framing this Jewish New Year as a time of reflection and joyful connections, because it's an opportunity. These holidays are an opportunity, whether you're going to see your family in person or not. It is an opportunity for connection. And tonight, I'm also going to give you real examples, real tachlis on how to do that, whether in person or virtually. Can continue. So first, I want to kind of talk about in-person visits. So just a show of hands, because I can see you all on the right-hand side of my screen. How many of you will be hosting in-person family over the holidays? Raise your hand just so I can see you. Okay, quite a good amount. I see you, Audrey. Yep, I see you, Sherry. Okay, so in person, there are so many things, of course, that we can do to create welcoming spaces for those who are coming to visit us. There is a saying in the organizer world, every organizing book that you will read has some version of this quote. And the quote, I love quotes and aphorisms. This quote is, outer order equals inner calm. So outer order equals inner calm. And family time can be stressful. Let's be real about it. So how can we, using our environment as safe and uncluttered spaces, to help affect the inner calm? So I'm going to talk a little bit about this. You can go ahead and advance the slide. Okay, so welcoming guests. So the part of this that is the second Jewish value is, I always butcher the Hebrew, hachnasat orchim, which literally means welcoming guests or bringing in guests. And that really is all about hospitality, generosity, and inclusiveness. What we're going for here is not just making everything perfect. That's not the goal. Not polishing all the silver. That's not important here. What our family, what the children, what the grandchildren are going to remember is not whether or not all of your silver was polished or the tablecloths had no stains. They're going to remember, how did they feel? How did they feel when they came to see grandma or poppy? How did they feel when they came to visit you, whether it be for just dinner or overnight or for the entire weekend or for the week? And that's really what I want you to hold on to, is how can you make them feel welcome? And that's their perspective, not yours. What is important is this goes beyond logistics. This is about the environment that you create in the home. Do the people, the children, the grandchildren, the daughter-in-law, son-in-law, whomever it may be, do they feel safe to be themselves? Are they able to just be naturally who they are in your space? And how do you encourage that and welcome that? How do we make sure that every little voice is heard? One way that I love to encourage this is having, as much as possible, the children, grandchildren integrated into everything you do. Sometimes at holidays, I see people set up like separate tables for children. And sometimes that can be a little off-putting because they don't feel included. And we want children to feel included. We want them to ask questions, be part of the table conversation. So really, this is about the Jewish value of making them feel welcome and honoring their presence. So how can you do all of that without it feeling exhausting or performative? And really and truly, less is more. I think that the less that you focus on the little details and the minute things, the better. And the more that you focus on the individual child, the best that it could be. And I'm going to go into some more examples of this. This could be as small as place cards. I know it sounds silly, but a place card with each person's name on it gives each person such feeling of honor. I matter. I have a place. My name is on the card. And even welcoming those people, take the card home. And it can just literally be an index card that you hand wrote their name on. It does not need to be fancy. It doesn't have to be printed. It is that simple. And I know that sounds silly, but it does make a huge difference. I know my kids have place cards from 10 years ago that they saved, that my mother-in-law just wrote for just some family gathering. I don't even know what it was for, but it really did make them feel special that they had a place at the table. So that is really one way. If you want to advance the slide, I believe I have a slide that talks more about this. Here are some more really great ideas for you. Again, all different ages. So whether you're having in-person visits from little ones all the way up to older ones, these are just some ideas that you can do in your home. And this can be whether they're coming just for a meal or they're coming for days on end. Set up a holiday corner. What do I mean by this? Is just set up a place where you are going to put holiday associated either ritual items, books, toys, anything that you have related to these holidays. Put it in one small corner of your home. This makes it easy for the kids to know where they can go to play and to hang out. And it also will make you feel more comfortable because now they're not all over the house with these things. There's one place for it. So when things have a home, it's easier to put them back and to take them out. And we like that. So we can keep our homes a little bit tidy, but holiday corners are great and fun. You don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff. I like to say your thrift store on your corner is your friend. You would be amazed what you can find. You can borrow things from friends and neighbors if you don't feel like you have a lot. If you have extra space and you want to create a dress-up area, something that's a lot of fun for little kids is dressing up. And on the high holidays, we dress up. Whether you go to services in a synagogue or not, whether you're Zooming a service on your TV or not, you can create a dress-up area, and then you can say to your grandchildren, you know, I used to go to synagogue with my family. It's something we used to do, and we used to dress up. We used to get a new dress. We used to get new shoes this time of year. And what fun that could be, what memories can that bring up, and what stories could you then naturally share with them during this dress-up time together. The third thing on the slide is I'm talking about a sensory-friendly space. Maybe you have a grandchild who has sensory issues. And for some kids, holidays are overstimulating. So maybe there's a quiet corner in your home where your sensitive grandchild needs to have a quiet space, and that can be their space where they can go and they can have a quiet moment. So being very sensitive to the different needs of the grandchildren is another way to really show chesed and love and kindness. And then fourth on this screen is something I want to always go back to, is I don't want you to lose yourself during these in-person visits. Your holiday is important too. This is your time to also have a moment of reflection as we put 1 year behind us and look forward to a new year. And so don't forget to keep yourself in mind. If you are the kind of person that always has a cup of coffee in the morning with the paper, still take that time to have the cup of coffee. If you're someone who likes to make a warm cup of tea before bed, still do that for yourself. Don't get lost in these visits. Your own time is important too. And I just feel like it's really important to mention that. Sarah, you want to go ahead? Okay, so for those of you, how many of you who are not hosting in person, but plan to try to do something virtually? Could you raise your hand so I can see you loud and proud? Debbie, I see you. Who else is doing something? Susan's like maybe. Susan's like on the fence. She's thinking about it. Anyone else? A yes on the virtual? Okay, well, if
Susan, excuse me, Amy,
yes.
Susan Stasinger, are you raising your hand because you have a question or because you are in fact
No, she was on the fence. I think she was on the fence. I'm going to give Susan some great ideas right now.
It depends on their end.
Yes. So connecting virtually, we were just talking about, before all of you popped on, we were just saying how technology is great when it works, right? But you are all here tonight, which means you all have some level of comfort with technology. You're able to do this, so certainly you would be able to pull something off virtually, whether your grandchildren lived across the country or in another country, in a different time zone. There's so much that can be done virtually. And for some of you, you might have some coming in person and some that are not. So I want you to have some ideas about what you can do. And I also don't want you to feel limited to doing things in the exact time. You don't have to Erev Rosh Hashanah. If everyone's not available to log on or to do something virtually, Erev Rosh Hashanah, it can be earlier that afternoon. It can be the next day. We're not confined here by an exact moment, especially when we're talking virtually. Everybody's sunset is at a different time. So I think really what's important here is that we're together virtually more so than getting it done at an exact time. So flexibility is key. And there are so many things that we can do. Yes, of course, you can do things leading up to the holiday as well. You can share story times with your grandchildren if they are of the age where they still like you to read storybooks to them, by all means. If they are a little bit older, maybe a virtual cooking session of a family favorite recipe. Maybe you make great matzo balls, or maybe you don't, or maybe you're going to do a round challah and you're going to make challah yourself. Ask your grandchildren if they would like to FaceTime or video share with you the screen while you're doing these. And it's an opportunity not just to share the recipe, but the story behind the recipe. Where did it come from? Some family history, and really creating these special moments together. 8-hour time difference I'm seeing. Okay, yes. So I would say to you, time difference, so okay, so now we're doing matzo ball soup at 7 a.m. your time. Who cares, right? Doesn't matter. And yes, maybe they're not as practicing as you or not as traditional as you. You know what? Everyone's got to eat. Food kind of spans all the different practices. So everybody loves good food. So I would say food is a great equalizer when it comes to that. Other activities that are really great virtually, maybe drawing or sharing stories with one another. I like to have some questions written down ahead of time before I do virtual with people, and these might be good for you. Some families like to do blessings virtually, where they light the candles, they say the blessings together, which is beautiful. Sometimes kids feel a little left out of those rituals because maybe, for them, it's not as interactive if they're not as much a part of it, if they're too young to light a candle. So having questions as part of the blessings might be great. Just asking things like, did somebody do something kind for you recently that you would like to share? What's one thing you're hoping for in the new year? What are you excited about in this Jewish New Year? Having some questions at the ready during these virtual times is helpful because you might not feel as comfortable coming up with them on the fly. And I think that having them ready is great, even if you don't use them. I feel like just doing blessings and that's the only thing that you're going to do may not be as interactive as making sure you have one more thing that you're doing together. So think about it ahead of time. Yes, David and Lisa, the eating apples and honey together is great. I've done apple tastings together where you have yellow and green and red, and they have a yellow, a green, and red, and everybody tastes each apple and which do you like the best. The same with honey. If you want to send a care package ahead of time to your grandchildren, you still have a little bit of time. You could even priority mail something. where there is maybe different honeys from your state, and let them taste all different kinds of honey to see which ones did they like, and have a whole conversation about that. And that could be a really great activity to do virtually. Music is also great. There are some wonderful kid-friendly videos that you can share with your grandchildren leading up to the holidays. If you are super into social media, I don't know how social media savvy some of you are. There are some great Instagram and TikTok videos that you can share that are super fun. So these are just some ideas of how to connect virtually.
Amy, can I jump in?
Yeah.
Would you allow me?
Yeah, of course, go.
Thanks. Because you've prompted some thoughts, and I want to share it with our friends here. So, would you allow me to just share a couple of ideas?
Go.
Or would you prefer? Okay. So I have an 11-year-old granddaughter, and I ordered her a real shofar because she and I learned Jewish together, and I bought her a real shofar, and so she tries to blow it, and at the table I call out the shofar sounds, and she tries to blow it. It doesn't always work. So what I happen to be passing a Judaica store because we've got younger kids coming, and they were selling $5 shofarot that actually they look like a shofar, but they make a sound like a party horn. So it's quite powerful. So that might be an idea, just to get like shofarot so that there's that powerful sound.
Absolutely.
There's one idea, and I plonked into chat that let me be more polite. I put in chat that JGN, the Jewish Grandparents Network, has just created a Rosh Hashanah celebration that you can share on your screen, or you can print out a grandparents guide, and it's got all kind of ideas that enhance some of those you've just
I love
proposed. Thank you.
And it can be so I love that you shared that, because that is so family specific, but it's something that's so easy replicated. What's interesting is my oldest daughter used to love she actually learned to iron on my husband's tallis, because he would wear a tallis to synagogue, and he would see him iron, and she learned how to iron because she wanted to do what dad was doing, and it was on the tallis. It was, of all the things, and it's just that core memory for her, that as she got older, he would let her iron the tallis on her own before he wore it to synagogue. Now, again, you may not wear a tallis, you may not be going to synagogue, but I'm just saying these are the things. It could be ironing the napkins because you're making a special meal or dinner. It could be anything. It's just creating the core memories. Okay, Sarah, can you just advance one more time? Okay. So as we do talk about our homes and preparing our homes, and because decluttering and organizing is so near and dear to my heart and is such a Jewish thing to do, honoring our space, honoring the others who are in our space, or those who are coming to visit. And I know when people have visitors, they get very anxious and they feel like they need to make their space perfect, or they feel overwhelmed because their homes have clutter. I know people who throw everything in the bathtub and pull the shower curtain thing, and they just have everything in there, or they throw everything in their laundry room. I want to give you, as a professional organizer, some easy decluttering ideas and thoughts that are truly doable and will become a practical practice for you. One of them is the one drawer challenge. The one drawer challenge is just doing one drawer at a time. And what's that making you do is not to feel overwhelmed because a whole room is a hot mess. You're literally going to take one part of that room, one drawer at a time, and you're going to declutter it. You're going to throw out the trash. You're going to see what you need to keep. You're going to categorize what needs to stay there, and then neatly put it back. So sometimes just by looking at your space, little bits at a time, it will be helpful to you. donation baskets. This is something actually is great to do when the grandkids come to visit, because it's a great practice to do with them. I love to keep an empty basket or box in my closet all year round. That way, anytime I have something that no longer fits, I no longer want, and I know is going to be donated, I just put it in that box. And when the box gets filled, either I or my husband or whoever's around takes it and drops it off and donates it. So just by keeping that bag or bin in the closet or nearby will force you to just constantly be purging the closet so that you don't end up with a closet that's a hot mess because you haven't done it in months and months and months. Another principle I love is the 1 in, 1 out. Anytime we shop or acquire something or get a gift, we think about, oh, these are lovely new black pants. Well, are they replacing the black pants that you already have? Can we do 1 in, 1 out? Where are they going in the closet? What are they replacing? And if you kind of think about 1 in, 1 out, then you are less likely to get overwhelmed with overconsumption. I know these are like very general and broad, but they are helpful to think about. And sometimes just by me saying them will prompt you to go a little bit deeper. A 5-minute reset. I love a 5-minute reset. My husband calls it when I go around the house in circles. If you just took 5 minutes every day and walked around the main part of your home and put things away that were just left in place, then by the end of the week, you won't end up with a cluttered countertop. I love to remind my clients, don't put it down, put it away. Don't put it down, put it away. So we all just put things down and don't even realize it. But if at the end of the day, before you go into the bedroom and wind down, you take that 5 minutes and go ahead and just put things away, then it will be super, super helpful. Think in layers, not perfection. So what that means is when we're looking to tidy up a space or create an environment that's welcoming, think in layers. The very first layer that you want to look at in any space is what is just obvious trash. Pick up a trash bag, walk around the room, just throw away things that is obviously trash. That alone is just going to take one layer off of your room, off of the clutter. Then from there, your next layer may be the belongs somewhere else. So walk around that same room with a basket or a box and just pick up anything that really belongs somewhere else. What really belongs in the laundry room, or this belongs in the garage, or this kind of like came over from the kitchen. And after you pick up everything that belongs somewhere else, you can put that box aside. I'm not saying to then take the 40 minutes it may take you to go room to room to room and put it away. You will address that box or that bag another time, but you've cleared the second layer in that room. So theoretically, what should be left in the room is everything that's staying in that room, right? So from there, your next layer would be to look around the room and to categorize everything that's staying. So you would categorize, if the room is a bedroom, one category could be clothing, one category could be shoes. Whatever the category is, you're going to categorize everything into its set category, like with like, and then find a home for it if it doesn't have a home, and then finally put it away. So if we're thinking in layers, then it kind of breaks it down a little bit. But decluttering and organizing is a whole practice, and it can be done so many different ways. And as we really work towards creating these environments that are hopefully going to be welcoming and peaceful, you absolutely want to make sure that we're not fully cluttered, because again, outer order equals inner calm. Oh, yes. So I think Marla is reminding me to remind you that if you do have items that you don't want, so when we identify items that we no longer want or need, you can either donate them, sell them, give them to a friend. She's reminding me that if you are active on Facebook, Most cities and towns on Facebook have a Facebook group called Buy Nothing, BUY Nothing group. So these groups are where people post, I don't know, anything, this coffee mug, right? So they can post this and say, I have 10 of these. Does anybody want them for free? And then somebody will comment and say, I would be happy to take them. And so typically, like for me, I leave on my front porch the 10 coffee mugs with the person's name and they come pick them up for free. So these Buy Nothing groups are great. When I work with clients and they have a lot of clutter, especially if it's art supplies or kids clothing or anything like that, the Buy Nothing groups are really nice because you kind of feel like you know the person picking it up or that it's going direct serve to a person. Lots of times teachers will scan the Buy Nothing groups looking for stuff for their classrooms or craft supplies or things like that. And then they come and pick it up from you for free. And it is wonderful because then you really feel like what you had no use for now has a purpose. And that's a little bit different than dropping off at a donation center or just calling for a pickup from a donation center. For a lot of people, they like to know who it's going to. So thank you so much, Marla, for reminding me of that. Yes, so Mark also says local police department has organized something. There's a lot of great organizations I'm sure you can find locally that would be happy to take your trash and turn it into treasure. And it's a very Jewish thing to do. It also, when you, especially with clothing, there's a huge problem with our landfills just filling up with clothing. So anytime you can repurpose clothing and find a new home, it is just so wonderful. I just brought clothing to a woman who's organizing a pop-up for the homeless tomorrow. And she does these pop-ups where the homeless can come and shop for clothing and socks and shoes and have dignity. So when I have stuff from my clients that, you know, they want to go to someone direct serve, I bring it to her. So enough said about that. There's lots of resources locally if you are looking to donate items. And I'm happy to talk more offline about that. Okay. So that was what I wanted to say about donating and decluttering. Sarah, did you want to go to the last? I think we're at the second to last or last slide. Yeah, okay, great. We were, see, I knew exactly where we were. So at this time, I would love to hear more from you. If anyone has any questions about anything that we had, anything really set some ideas into motion of how you may connect during the holidays with your grandchildren and family. Let me see. Yes.
Can I start us off with a challenge that I face, and I think some of our friends might too. If we're hosting, let's say, Rosh Hashanah dinner in person, I find it a huge challenge, even though I think I'm organized and well prepared and everything's ready, to get out of the kitchen and be present at the table because, oh no, the soup's boiling over, but the brisket needs to go in, and then the asparagus I have to heat in the micro. What guidance can you offer for staying present when you're also in charge of making sure everyone gets fed on time?
Yeah, and it's really important because you know what, Terry, it's your holiday too, right? And I don't want you in the kitchen. I want you with family and enjoying. So if you're comfortable and if you can, and this is a challenge for me too, because I cook and I love hosting, but I end up in the kitchen as well. And then I feel like I missed out on half of the conversation and the stories that's going on in the next room. Have an idea before you even start the meal. What are 5 things that you can assign to other people? And before the meal even starts, tell them their assignment. Tell your daughter-in-law, I want you to serve the soup. Tell your son-in-law, I want you to pick up the soup dishes when everyone is done and put them in the sink. 5 things that then you don't feel obligated to be in the kitchen doing yourself. And I'm not talking about, you know, turning over, making the entire souffle to somebody else, because again, that may not be feasible, but just little things like that. My kids were assigned, I know this sounds crazy. We used to clear after the meal before dessert and reset. My kids knew they had to take all the napkins and bring them to the laundry room, and they had to bring out the new napkins. Like that was like the big thing. So just 5 things that you can assign ahead of time. Put somebody in charge of making sure everybody has beverages and that their wine glasses are refilled. Move a beverage bar into the dining room if that makes it easier. Don't do plated meals. Serve it family style if that's helpful to you. Put everything on the table and let everybody serve themselves. Set up a buffet near your dining room so that people have to get up and serve themselves. These are all ways so that you can sit down. My mother used to yell at me for wearing an apron at the table. She says, could you please just sit down and take off your apron? So I feel for you, but I would say assign people jobs, and anyone can have a job. As young as 4 years old can have a job. So, you know, give up a little bit control. I know it's hard, but try. Where can you purchase the kid chauffeurs? You can definitely get them online. Terry, you found them at a Judaica shop, I believe. I'm looking at the questions. We celebrate on the week.
There's a question above that. From Marla.
Yeah. Hold please.
We celebrate on the weekends. The weekend between is both.
Yeah. Do not be confined by time and space. Don't be I would say that about anything, even Shabbat. I mean, I can't tell you how many families do Shabbat Thursday night, because Friday nights, their grandkids have football games and soccer practice and blah, 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 and it just doesn't work. Yes, I think that is wonderful. What was this? Someone said, oh yeah, the real shofar thing. Kids love shofars. Shofars, tzedakah boxes, anything interactive. We used to keep a roll of pennies, rolls of coins and rolls of pennies. If you're a big shot, rolls of quarters next to the tzedakah boxes. And then what we would do is, while we were saying the blessings, to keep the kids right there and occupied so that they would not get bored and walk away while we're trying to get through all the blessings, we would give them the entire roll of pennies, and they would just sit there putting it in the tzedakah box one by one. And that gave them something to do while we went through all the blessings. And they had no idea we were doing this, but it was why we were doing it. So that's something that we did.
Deb Weinberg says that reverse tashlich. Do you see that comment? Reverse tashlich is a nice tradition to clean up waterways, where you take out of the water rather than casting into the water.
Yes. Yes. And if you're not near a waterway, I've seen people use their pools. Another, like, if you really want to go all out, here's like a big deal thing. Go to the dollar store or go to the toy store and get a blow up kiddie pool. Like, you know, those little pools, put it on your back patio or on your porch or on your veranda, blow up the pool, put some water in it. Okay. And you can either do tashlich into this little pool, but what is next level, take a coffee filter, like that you would use for Mr. Coffee, and have the kids write in marker on it something that they want to do differently in the new year, or something that happened in the past of the year prior that they want to forget about. Have them write it in marker on the coffee filter, ball it up. And when they throw it into the pool, it erases, the marker washes out. So it washes away what you want to be done with from the year prior. And then each color of the marker, like if they wrote it in purple and the other grandkid wrote something in red, another kid wrote something in green, the water turns all the colors and it creates like a rainbow. And that's your rainbow for the new year. You can do it in a bucket. You can do it in anything, but it really is pretty when you do it that way, because the marker comes off of the coffee filter and goes right into the water. It's really kind of cool. Do you have any
There's a
tips on
question from Audrey. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm jumping. I'm treading
sentimental
on you.
items? I see it.
Yeah. Mm.
Sentimental items are the number one question. So it depends on what it is. If it's photographs, I mean, I have lots of different things. I'll give you an example. I was helping declutter somebody's bedroom closet. It was a guest bedroom closet, had a ton of sentimental stuff in it. And we came across a huge roll of wallpaper. I said, why do you have this? I said, are you putting this up? She says, no, that was the wallpaper in my grandmother's bathroom or something. And it reminds me of her home. And it's the last roll of this wallpaper and they don't make it anymore. And I said, well, it's a huge roll of wallpaper. You need space. Why, we're trying to declutter. So here's what we did. We cut a square this big and I framed it in a frame. And now it lives in her bathroom as a framed piece of art. So sometimes you can repurpose sentimental items into smaller versions of what they are. Lots of times we take pictures of sentimental items so that we remember them by taking a photo of them, but it's the stories, not the stuff. So if you have a sentimental item, please make sure that you have the story that goes with it, because I'm so sorry to say we are all not here forever. And the minute that we are not here and we are the only one who know the stories, the stuff doesn't have the same meaning. So please write down the story that goes with the thing so that we remember it. I'm reading. A book collector. Oh my God, I love books too. It's such a hard thing. How do you get rid of books? Well, there's lots of wonderful places that will take donated books. Most public libraries actually will take donated books if you are willing to get rid of them. I would say don't try to do it all at once. If you're a huge collector and you have a huge collection, break it down into chunks. What else? What else was the question?
Amy, there's a question.
Yes.
How do you avoid the mindset of,
Mhm.
I don't want to give it away just in case? Like, that
Just in
shawl.
case is
You
the
remember we
biggest
used to wear
category.
shawls? Yeah, shawls over our sleeveless dresses at weddings in those
Okay,
days.
so
Just in case I need it.
the just in case is a huge category. And I am a very kind and gentle professional organizer with my clients. I do not force people to get rid of things that they're not ready to get rid of. The just in case, though, is out of hand. So I will say this to you, just in case, if it is for a storm or a natural disaster, it's an absolute stay. You can hold on to those items, no problem. If it's something that you are holding on to because just in case there's a storm or a natural disaster, or for my safety, I need these objects, then you hold on to them. Everything else in the just in case category, I will argue with. And it is a case by case thing, but I will argue with clothing, with especially women, one size up, one size down. We're not going to hold on to 17 pairs of black pants in every single size just in case we lose the 20 pounds or just in case we gain the 20 pounds. We're going to hold on to the black pants that fit us now, maybe one pair size up and one pair size down. That's it. That's it. If you give yourself parameters, then the just in case, will kind of whittle itself down. I hear the just in case over and over and over again. And I think that most people default to a just in case. But the reality is if you haven't touched that item in 1 year's time, you don't need it. I'm being honest. Look, in your closet, you can do this tonight. When we get off this Zoom, go into your closet, take everything in your closet on the hangers and turn it backwards so that the hook of the hanger is facing the opposite way. All of the things on the rod, okay? Now, anytime that you go to wear something and you go to put it back the proper way. After 6 months, you will see what you actually wear in your closet, because all of those other hangers will be turned the other way. And that will tell you in 6 months, years time, what you actually wear. And that will show you that we really only wear 20% of our closet 80% of the time.
Marla, I'm so interested in your original statement that what's the clutter that's, niggling at you is my married children's bedrooms with the stuff they left. Would you unmute it? Because I think this resonates, and it's
You're not their storage
guilt-inducing.
unit. Who said that? Who was that?
That was Marla.
Marla, you are not your children's storage unit.
Mine are like they're yearbooks, and my 50th reunion's coming up. I said, take them home, don't get rid of them. And I've started bringing like one item each time because that I go over. And I mean, there are things that they do have that's been hard, but I've given like graduation gowns and things like that. I've given it away to the Buy Nothing. And on the person that said the book collector, we have a couple little free libraries in our town.
Perfect.
And that way someone gets use of it. And someone I used to work with, she passed on a baby toy. Then I used it and gave it to my niece for her baby. And then my daughter just had a grandson last week. So I said to my niece, when you're done with it, and it's a great, we passed it, and it's indestructible. It's one of those wooden, busy type things. So
yes,
I
hear you. But honestly, if you are still storing your kids' stuff and they have homes of their own,
well, the problem is both my mother and mother-in-law have passed, and so remnants of their stuff are in there. I've been getting rid of it. So not only are the kids' stuff, but it's like I would love to make this into an actual, bedroom for the kids to come over. One is, but not the other room. And it's like it's hard getting rid of it. I'm trying.
Give yourself a deadline. Give yourself a deadline and possibly ask a friend or a neighbor to help you stay accountable to what your goals are, or hire a professional organizer to help you.
That's true. It's getting
so many people just call me because they need an accountability partner to make it happen. I'm telling you, you can make it happen. I have faith in you.
Are there other questions? Feel free to raise your Zoom hand or just unmute. It's just us. We can chat. Or any other ideas you want to share about fun Rosh Hashanah family activities you've done that you think we could all learn from? We'd love to hear.
Can we talk about Sukkot, or is that pushing it?
You hold the floor, my dear.
I love Sukkot. I think it is the most underrated holiday. I think it's so great. I think it's so great for kids. I love the holiday. It's a great way to engage children. It's outdoors. It's fun. It's less structured. If you haven't thought about bringing that into your family rituals, I highly encourage it. And I'm not saying you need to build a sukkah in your backyard. I can't tell you how many times I've turned my kitchen table into a sukkah where the kids were under the table and like that was their sukkah, like they were creating a thing. I love Sukkot, and there's so many fun things you can do with all different kinds of fruit. Speaking of fruit,
tell us.
Wait, don't be stuck on apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah. Pomegranates. Pomegranates are so fun. And the holiday, I'm telling you, pomegranates are a great Rosh Hashanah thing to have at the table. They're so different and unique, and kids are just like fascinated by them with all the seeds. I'm telling you, pomegranates are a thing, and they're so unusual, and you should definitely bring pomegranates into the mix Okay, but Sukkot. Sukkot is just fun because you can be outside and you can create a sukkah out of anything, and it can be a cardboard box that you put palm fronds over the top of it. And the kids could sit outside. And if you do have a backyard, let them camp outside and bring out sleeping bags for the older kids and give them flashlights and lanterns. And it's just a great way to engage kids. I love Sukkot.
There's a wonderful idea here. Have a yard sale, and your older grandchildren can help with this. Donate
Yes.
some of the money for tzedakah. I'm working on this with my granddaughter, who is not too enthusiastic.
I love it.
Who
No,
is
let
not
them
too
make money.
enthusiastic, but is helping me price the items.
Yes,
Love it.
help.
Love it.
Yes, I love that idea. Yard sales are so much fun, and let them help organize it and let them help price things and sell things and make money. I love that. I love it. I love it. If
Love
they're
it.
older, if you have older grandchildren and you truly have valuable things that you're willing to get rid of and you want to try to make some money, have them help you sell it on eBay. I mean, if you have teenage grandchildren, they are so savvy. Have them help you sell it online or on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. That's a great way to really engage and connect with grandkids, is let them help you with that. I think that's also fun. What else?
Thank you, Amy. I think we're going to sign off for now, unless there are any last questions. And you feel free to unmute if you have anything you'd like to share or ask as we sign off for tonight. And thank you for all the little clapping emojis that are floating through the screen and heart emojis. Tomorrow we will send you a follow-up email. It'll have Amy's slides. She has created a wonderful discussion guide with questions that you can ask yourself or you can ask amongst a group of grandparents. We will also send you the recording and how to reach out and how to connect with Amy, including her website and her email. Look for that tomorrow in your inbox. If you don't see it in your inbox by lunchtime, please check your spam folder, because sometimes our emails do go to spam. And Amy, from all of us, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your just bright and cheery outlook on life. And thank you so much for all the wonderful tips you've shared with us tonight. And to all our grandparent friends, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support. We always are so grateful for that. And we will see you all soon.